When you think you've seen it all behind the scenes of the San Francisco 49ers, the day comes and proves that the drama, strategy, and emotion are more alive than ever. Injuries that can shift the entire season's trajectory, signings that could flip the game on its head, tense contract talks that split the fan base, and even bold statements that might ignite both the locker room and the entire NFL. Today, every detail could be the turning point. Are we witnessing the start of a historic run, or the warning signs of trouble ahead? You won't believe what we've got today. So grab your seat, hit that like button, and let's dive straight into the news. In football, a single injury can completely change the dynamics of a team. That's exactly what happened with Jordan Watkins. A high ankle sprain is going to sideline him for at least a month. And make no mistake, in the tight NFL schedule, a month is a lifetime for a roster already facing uncertainty at the wide receiver position. So what did the front office do? They moved quickly, like a predator that smells its prey. On Tuesday, the 49ers worked out 4 receivers and decided on a temporary replacement for Watkins. And it's not just any name, it's Malik Turner, a guy who already knows Kyle Shanahan's system. Turner comes from the Michigan Panthers, where he was a force in the UFL last season, 269 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns in just the playoffs. He finished in the league's top 10 in receiving yards. He may not have the star power of a Brandon Ayuk, but he brings hunger, preparation, and familiarity with the offense. Here's the kicker. This is Turner's 3rd stint in red and gold. He was on the roster in 2022, returned to the practice squad in 2024, and now he's back again. It's almost like destiny is giving him another shot. The question is, will this be the time it sticks? The reality is clear. With Watkins out and the Jauan Jennings contract saga still unresolved, Brock Purdy needs reliable targets. Ayuk and Demarcus Robinson are proven, but we're unlikely to see much of them in September. That leaves the door wide open for someone to step up. Jacob Cowing is in the mix, but Turner arrives as that surprise element who could shake up the depth chart. And honestly, that's what makes this exciting. When a player comes in without the burden of a massive contract or unrealistic expectations, he plays free. He plays urgent. And for us as fans, that's a gift. We've seen so many stories start this way, an under-the-radar pickup who ends up becoming a key piece of a playoff run. Of course, there's risk. Plugging a player into Shanahan's offense means quick adaptation. It's not just about memorizing routes, it's about reading defenses, reacting to pre-snap movement, and executing with surgical precision. But if Turner can bring the same level of play he showed in the UFL, we might be looking at one of the most pleasant surprises of the early season. And believe me, this isn't even the most surprising thing that happened today. If there's one thing the recent history of the 49ers has taught us, it's that peace never lasts long when it comes to contracts. There's always that negotiation that drags on, that drama that hangs in the air and keeps fans restless. Right now, the spotlight is on Jauan Jennings. The receiver, known for his grit and chemistry with Brock Purdy in clutch moments, is in a tricky spot. Before training camp even began, he reportedly asked for one of 2 things, a new deal or a trade. And yes, he did show up to camp, but his return was short-lived. A calf injury sent him right back to the sidelines, fueling even more tension. Behind the scenes, reporter Tim Kawakami shed some light on the situation. The Niners front office feels the timing is all wrong to hand Jennings a big new contract, and you can see their logic. Not too long ago, Brandon Ayuk signed a massive deal that the team's financial decision-makers reportedly regretted almost instantly. Just months later, Brock Purdy inked a staggering $265 million contract. In that context, writing another big check for Jennings doesn't seem to be in the immediate plans. The problem is that the receiver room is far from healthy. Ayuk, the top target, has an uncertain status and could miss at least the first month of the season. Watkins, as you know, is out for a month with that ankle injury. Jacob Cowing is back in practice, but expecting him to carry the offense alongside Ricky Pearsall and George Kittle is a big ask. Let's be clear. Losing Jennings early in the season would be a major blow. He's not just another name on the roster, he's that guy who connects with Purdy on third downs, who fights for every single yard like it's the last. He's heart and muscle in the passing game. So far, there's been no formal trade request. That's a temporary relief, but it also means the standoff could drag on. Kawakami says the 2 sides are not close to an agreement, and while Kyle Shanahan insists Jennings' absence is purely about the calf injury, not a holdout tactic, the shadow of discontent is hard to ignore. Once again, it seems like the Niners are following the same script, heading into September with a crucial question still unresolved. Only this time, the margin for error is razor thin, because if Jennings doesn't return soon, the pressure is going to spike, and not just on the field. And believe it or not, this still isn't the roster's most uncertain situation. When a team steps into the preseason, Every player knows that each snap could be the difference between making the roster or getting that dreaded call, "Bring your playbook." For Isaiah Hodgins, that pressure is even heavier. The San Jose native entered the first preseason game with a golden chance to prove he belonged. But what did we see? Just one catch for 5 yards. Sure, none of the receivers lit it up that night. With Carter Bradley and Tanner Mordecai throwing passes, the offensive output was limited. But Hodgins came into the game already fighting an uphill battle. His practices had been quiet, without the kind of standout moments that force coaches to take notice. And when you're on the roster bubble, you need more than average. You need plays that make the staff stop and say, "This guy's different." His situation is even more precarious, considering the context. Since signing a reserve/future contract in January, expectations for him to make the final 53 were slim. He was more of an insurance policy in case of injuries. Well, here we are. Watkins sidelined, Jennings in contract limbo, and Ayuk uncertain. If there was ever a moment for a player like Hodgins to seize the opportunity, this is it. The thing is, Hodgins isn't some untested rookie. Drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the 6th round in 2021, he's also played for the New York Giants, putting up 634 yards and 7 touchdowns over 4 NFL seasons. Experience? Check. Consistency? That's where the questions begin. The emotional angle makes it even more compelling. Imagine growing up in Walnut Creek, dreaming of playing for your hometown team and finally getting the shot. It's the kind of underdog storyline every fan wants to root for. But the NFL is ruthless. If Hodgins can't turn his limited reps into impact plays and do it fast, the dream could end before it really starts. The preseason clock doesn't stop. Every practice, every route, every catch is under the microscope. Hodgins needs to show not just that he can haul in passes, but that he can block, grasp Shanahan's complex reads, and be a trusted option in critical downs. The road is steep, but not impossible. Injuries have cracked the door open. If Hodgins can turn these next few weeks into a string of highlight moments, he could flip the narrative from cut candidate to valuable early season contributor. But with the Niners, nothing is ever simple. And this roster battle? It's just getting started. While the offense navigates uncertainty, one steady, confident voice is coming from the other side of the ball. Deommodore Lenoir, a cornerback who's already earned the fans' trust, decided to send a message to the entire NFL. He wants to be recognized as the best at his position, and it wasn't a casual remark. Face-to-face with Richard Sherman, one of the most respected corners in league history, Lenoir declared, "I'm going to be the best corner in the league this year." To some, that's just preseason talk. But for those who followed Lenoir, this is a man speaking from the experience of allowing only 3 touchdowns in 5 NFL seasons. Still, he feels overlooked, like he's still being viewed as just another 5th-round draft pick. That chip on his shoulder is exactly the fuel he's bringing into the season. The timing couldn't be more symbolic. With Charvarius Ward off to the Indianapolis Colts, the CB1 mantle is now his. And being CB1 isn't just about status. It's about taking on the opponent's top receiver every week and leading the secondary with consistency and composure. Lenoir's earned this role the hard way, fresh off signing the biggest contract of his career, 5 years, $89.8 million. He could easily relax, but he insists the money hasn't changed his mentality. The focus is still on the grind, on the love for the game, on proving himself through actions, not words. The 49ers need that mindset more than ever. The defense has undergone massive changes. Javon Hargrave, Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, and Ward are all gone. 5 defensive rookies were drafted to help fill the void. That means that, even at just 26 years old, Lenoir is now one of the unit's veteran leaders, a role that demands both performance and inspiration. In a season where the offense may take time to click due to injuries, the defense will have to be the anchor. If Lenoir truly becomes the lockdown corner he aspires to be, shutting down elite receivers week in and week out, the impact will be enormous. He knows it. We know it. The question is whether the rest of the NFL is ready to give him the recognition he's after. From what we've seen so far, the answer is obvious. But in San Francisco, nothing is handed to you, and the season Lenoir is promising could redefine what it means to wear red and gold. Today, we saw a 49ers team that doesn't shy away from challenges, making smart, targeted signings, navigating tense negotiations, giving chances to those still chasing the dream, and empowering leaders ready to raise the bar. Every piece of news carries the weight of a season that could be historic, but also the uncertainty of a roster that must reinvent itself. This is where champions are forged. The only question is, who will rise when the game gets tough? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications because the season is just getting started, and the best is yet to come.